So things are getting heated, and the Muslim Dawah guys are getting divided among ideological lines. We are now seeing full-blown attacks between former friends and allies, like Mohammed Hijab and Yasir Qadhi. What happened? Why did Yasir Qadhi block Hijab on Twitter and WhatsApp, and why is Hijab bashing Qadhi? Let's get into it. The drama seems to keep escalating in this community. The problems and divisions keep getting worse, and I can barely keep up with all of it. So what happened? This is all centered around the issue of a Scottish Muslim politician by the name of Hamza Yusuf, not the American scholar, but a Scottish politician, who was Scotland's first minister. On one hand, Muslims are celebrating that a Muslim politician was elected, and he even broke fast in the official residence in Edinburgh. So many Muslims are happy, but not Hijab and his gang. Oh no. Hijab in particular has gone and kicked Yusuf right out of Islam, saying he's a kafir and no longer Muslim because of what he said about homosexuality. Many other scholars have hinted or made statements without mentioning name that someone who says such and such things is not Muslim, and they've said it right after this incident. The problem is, it's not fair because Minister Yusuf has been grilled on this topic by the media to the extent that he said he's answered this 25 times now.
Just to be crystal clear on this, do you think that gay sex is a sin?
Oh, look, I've answered this question time and time again. No matter how many times, Sophie, you ask the question, I believe in equal.
Many other Muslim politicians in other countries who hold similar views might have slid under the fundamentalist Muslim radar, but not in Scotland. They wanted to know. As the war against human rights continues, we are going to see more and more clashes between Islamists and Western values. The Muslims in the middle who support universal human rights may have to do so at great personal risk to themselves. I hope Minister Yusuf stays safe, as he is now the focus of many personal attacks by these fundamentalists. The reason why I say this is because when you are labeled a kafir, that makes you an apostate and liable to death threats and even vigilante violence. Hamza Yusuf went and discussed with another Islamist by the name of Dili Hussain on his podcast.
And a lot of it hung on these issues. It did make, we can laugh, Hamza, but the truth of the matter is...
I'm laughing.
No, we can laugh
at the way you framed it. Yeah.
No, but we frame it and we can make it a light matter, but we remember that this is something that Allah destroyed a nation over.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you understand?
100%.
And we laugh, I know we said this off camera, that it's actually laughable that we're even having this conversation.
Yes.
But the truth is there is serious repercussions and implications for the Muslims and especially children in relation to this conversation that we're having today. So
in a nutshell, he supports LGBT rights, abortion rights, gender reform, and so on. This is where the divide has come in. Yasir Qadhi, being the practical person that he is, made a post about not holding politicians up to the scholars and excusing some of the things they say because of the situation they're in, and not throwing them out and completely rejecting them. Basically seeing the big picture. Yasir Qadhi said, politicians are not scholars. I would never advise a pious person to enter politics, but politicians don't care about advice from scholars. Hence, those who choose to enter this arena do so at their peril, and we hope and pray that their good to the community is far more than their harm. Hijab took issue with this and decided to discuss Yasir Qadhi's stance in a podcast with Dili Hussain. You can see that they're really upset about this, all over LGBT rights. Now, I want you to keep in mind that according to Islam, gays have no rights, not even the right to exist. Whatever your opinions are about the transgender movement and whatnot, remember that under Islam, there are no rights at all for these people. So here's where we get to the problem. Like it or not, Yasir Qadhi has been a moderating force. Yes, I know what I'm saying. He has been a moderating influence despite what these fundamentalists think. What he's doing has been in the best interest of the community, the Muslim community, and probably good for those of us outside the community too. The problem is now we are seeing a clash between these fundamentalists and those who are in favor of Muslim Western integration, like Jonathan Brown and Yasir Qadhi. We are seeing a growing divide between these two groups, one of which wants to bring back the good, the bad, and the ugly, of Islamic law, subjugation, violence, persecution of minorities, and the other who wants to continue to live in harmony in the West as minorities. I know if I had to pick one, I know which one I would favor. Recently, Hijab sort of apologized on Twitter, and Yasir Qadhi said he'd accept his apology and they'll talk about it later. But in my opinion, the cat is out of the bag, and there's no going back to the way things were before. Sides have been taken and lines have been drawn in the sand. These two sides see things fundamentally different. One wants peace and harmony, and the other is a hard line that doesn't want to accommodate anyone or anything. Muslim rights matter, but LGBT rights don't. Our community matters, but yours doesn't. At least one of the two can see that you can't behave like this without sounding like a hypocrite. It cuts both ways. You can't have your cake and eat it too. The whole crew, they're pushing the Muslim community back into the dark ages. They're trying to hold the Muslim community back from integration, from progress, from being a part of the bigger whole. We don't want that. We want integration. We want peace and harmony. If you like this video, click subscribe and stay tuned for more on this. Thank you to my patrons and my supporters as always. This is your friendly ex-Muslim Abdullah Samir signing out.